This is QTV News coming to you from our studios on Caraba Avenue. I am Mamutu Gajaga and thank you for joining us. First, a look at our main news headlines. As part of activities marking International Day of the Girl, a stakeholders consultation on issues affecting the girl child was held on Saturday. A former permanent secretary of the Ministry of Tourism appeared before Standing Committee of the National Assembly on Wednesday following allegations of corruption and abuse of office by the GT Board management in the award of a contract for the construction of eco-lodges. The African Solidarity Fund delegation met the Gambia Bankers Association on Thursday to foster collaboration and strengthen the financial landscape and economic growth of the Gambia. The Medical Women Association Gambia organized a day-long free breast cancer screening and consultation for women at the Serekunda police station. In international news, as the humanitarian situation in Gaza deteriorates, world powers bicker over how to halt Israel's bombs so desperately needed aid can reach the people of Gaza. Those were the news headlines, and now the news in detail. Welcome and thank you for joining us. This is QTV News. As part of activities marking International Day of the Girl, a stakeholders consultation on issues affecting the girl child was held on Saturday by the Woman Boss, jointly funded by UNDP and UNICEF. Jennifer Sonko tells us more.
International Day of the Girl Child is an international observance day declared by the United Nations. It is also called Day of Girls, commemorated annually on October 11th. Children's aspirations are still falling short of global commitments to improve their well-being. Discussions are continuing at every level on the urgency of supporting children for the realization of the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development. UNICEF calls for investment in girls' leadership, to creating space and platforms for girls to raise their voices. Here is UNICEF Deputy Country Representative Arman Nahore.
Today, let's celebrate also hope. Let's celebrate your talent. Because as leaders, when the government invests in education, for example, but also in other basic services, and give you the opportunity to act as leaders, you must be able to show, to amplify all what you are doing, all what you are saying, so that the girls you represent who are across the country know what's happening.
There is need for the global community to move beyond reaffirming commitments and invest boldly in the action needed to make that change. This is because girls are championing solutions and change in their communities. Fatima Sonko spoke on behalf of the UNDP country representative.
In many corners of the world, girls face numerous challenges, including gender-based discrimination, limited access to education, early marriage, and violence. These challenges must be met with determination and resolve. We all have a moral and ethical duty to break down the barriers that hold girls back and impede their progress. Empowering girls and investing in their rights and well-being is not just the right thing to do. It is a strategic imperative for the development of any society.
Governments, civil society and development partners and the public should envision a world where girls have space to shape government policies and spending to inform the rules and norms by which businesses should operate. Letia Grant, a student, elaborates.
So it's not easy to face massive challenges like this, and you don't have anyone to talk to or to represent you in state levels like this. Because right now there are National Assembly representatives who are here. As a Woman Boss ambassador, I am here and I am the voice of those girls who are not being heard. I have numerous questions for them.
Every day, girls are breaking boundaries and barriers, tackling issues like child marriage, education, inequality, violence, climate change, and inequitable access to healthcare. Today's more than 1.1 billion girls are poised to take on the future. Reporting for KTV News, I am Jennifer Sonko.
A former permanent secretary of the Ministry of Tourism, Kodu Jabang Sengor, appeared before Standing Committee of the National Assembly on Wednesday, following allegations of corruption and abuse of office by the GT Board management. QTV's Mahmoud Lamin Choi has more.
A petition from staff of the Gambia Tourism Board is before the Standing Committee of Public Petitions of the National Assembly. The committee is now at the climax of the inquiry, which started more than 2 years ago. The former permanent secretary was an ex-officio member of the GT Board's Governing Council, which is a decision-making body of the board. One of the petitioner's allegations the former PS has to answer is the awarding of contract to Lair Group for the construction of 5 ecologies, despite other bidders offering lower cost for the construction project.
As I said, based on the reasons they would have given as a contracts committee, a contracts committee, of course, that the governing body would have trusted, because this is a contracts body that probably has really been taking care of so many activities for GT Board for as long as we can remember. So, as I said, if the recommendations are quite strong and they have every reason to say, let's give it to a particular contractor, I don't think we would have had any reason to doubt that particular contractor's capability to deliver.
In 2018, the GT Board and the Minister of Tourism signed an agreement with Construct Company Limited for the construction of an office space in what is now known as Tropic Shopping Centre. Later on, the GT Board reportedly changed course and asked Construct Company to build an office complex, citing that Tropic Shopping Centre is not suitable to host GT Board. While a new office complex was being built, the GT Board was renting office space costing $3 million annually without opting to use in the interim the office space in the Tropic Shopping Centre, which had been earlier built for the GT Board. The petitioners expressed shock in this decision, stating that it is unreasonable for the GT Board to pay rent when they could have easily moved into their new office in the Tropic Shopping Centre. The Tourism Minister is alleged to have issued a directive in this regard.
Well, the minister then was very concerned, Honorable Ahmad Nkeba. He was concerned about the space because, of course, GT Board themselves were concerned. So they had options. Again, even if the issue came from the ministry, the board had the final decision. So it was discussed at the board, the governing council, and of course, a decision would have reached as to whether or not to move into that space, which was basically cubicles that they would have had to erect within that floor to house the office, or to have a fitting head office that would house their staff and even have enough space to project for future expansions for the institution.
Land allocation to an investor raised eyebrows of the petitioners, who feel a foul play in the process. Investors who are considered for land allocation at the tourism development area are required to pay to the GT Board 5% of their total investment cost. The petitioners alleged that in this instance, following some interference by the tourism minister, the GT Board waived 3% from the 5% payment requirement, thereby causing revenue losses. The former permanent secretary of the Ministry of Tourism cannot remember when a waiver had been offered to a particular company. Next week, the Minister of Tourism will be appearing before the Public Petitions Committee to answer to questions of allegations against the GT Board and his ministry. Mahmoud Lamin Choi, QTV News.
The African Solidarity Fund delegation met the Gambia Bankers Association on Thursday to foster collaboration and strengthen the fiscal landscape and economic growth of the Gambia. Lena Igwenyipo has more.
Since their arrival, the delegation met with government officials and business communities before launching the African Solidarity Fund activities in the Gambia on Friday. This meeting with the Gambia Bankers Association on Thursday is important to discuss issues relating to the financial sector, which plays a pivotal role in the country's economic growth. Jean Bachmans Nkruziza is the Central Director of Strategy and Operations.
We understand that you as banks are at the head of this process. Your expertise, resources, and commitment to your clients' success are key to driving our economy. The guarantee we offer helps mitigate the perceived risk of financial institutions, allowing you to expand your loan portfolio, improve your compliance with the regulatory framework, solvency, single obligor limits, and so forth, and support projects that might not otherwise be implemented.
The engagement also includes discussing critical areas such as risk management, the development of sound lending policies, crisis management capabilities, innovation to meet customer demands, and the financing of development projects, among other significant initiatives. Namdi C. Anoise, the Vice President of the Gambia Bankers Association, expressed optimism, highlighting their commitment to ensuring that this partnership will yield substantial benefits for all.
Going by what the African Solidarity Fund have done in some other countries, neighboring countries that we all are aware, it's been so good. And we don't have any doubt that it's going to be cruise all the way. We will definitely take advantage of this, ensure that we move forward, move up the people, the lives of people, ameliorate the standard of the financial institutions in the country.
Jean Bechmans Nkruziza, Central Director in charge of Strategy and Operations, also spoke of the attainment of their shared objectives.
Together, we'll make it easier for businesses to access financing and contribute effectively to the economy and accomplish wonderful things. Thus, I am confident that through a strong partnership and a shared desire to support entrepreneurship and economic development of this beautiful country, called the Smiling Coast of Africa, will make significant progress in the years to come.
The African Solidarity Fund aimed to become a strong and innovative Pan-African institution at the service of the structural transformation of member states by 2025. The African Solidarity Fund's mission is to contribute to the economic development and social progress of its 21 member states. Reporting for QTV News, I am Lena E. Igwenyeba.
We'll now go for a commercial break, and when we return, we still have some more local and international news stories. Do stay tuned.
Technology has always been at the forefront of our lives, and the way we use it has evolved drastically over the years. With the advent of 5G internet, we are entering a new era of technological innovation that promises to transform the way we live, work, and play. 5G internet is capable of providing data speeds up to 100 times faster than 4G, making it the ideal solution for streaming high-quality videos, playing online games, and downloading large files on the go. 5G internet is already transforming cities across the globe, powering smart cities, self-driving cars, and virtual reality experiences that were once thought impossible. 5G internet is also paving the way for Internet of Things, allowing for seamless connectivity between devices and the creation of a truly connected world. For the first time in the Gambia, QCell is bringing tomorrow's technology to you today with the launch of QCell 5G Internet. Get ready to experience the out-of-this-world wonders of QCell's 5G Internet. For more information, call 111. QCell. We innovate, others follow.
As the fastest growing GSM company in the Gambia, QCell has the widest 4G plus coverage in the country, 3 times faster internet speed than our competitors. So switch now and dial *335# and enjoy what true 4G feels like. QCell, Gambia's trusted network.
Welcome back, and thank you very much for joining us. This is QTV News. In keeping with their mission to serve humanity in pursuit of positive health program and projects, the Medical Women Association Gambia organized a day-long free breast cancer screening, awareness raising and consultation for hundreds of women at the Serekunda police station. Julden Jai attended the event and Sina reports.
According to the latest World Health Organization data published in 2020, breast cancer deaths in Gambia reached 26 deaths that year, or 0.20% of the total deaths in the country. The age-adjusted death rate is 4.44 per 100,000 of the population. This ranks Gambia at 182 in the world. Therefore, concerted efforts are needed to fight the disease. Dr. Bintu Njai, Assistant Public Relations Officer of the Medical Women Association Gambia, MWAGAM, spoke of the rationale behind the initiative.
The thing about cancer is the earlier you detect cancer, the better you can manage or eventually cure cancer. So if you give people the knowledge, if you give them the power to examine themselves, be aware of the problems and catch it early, then you're helping not only the people but the health system as well. So you're telling them, if you catch cancer early, then we can help you better.
Dr. Njai also highlights other services that the association offers.
We're also doing a BMI check. We're basically checking your weight and height and seeing if you're overweight or not. Why are we doing this? Because if you're overweight, it also increases your risk of breast cancer. So if they come here and they're overweight, we can talk to them about modalities to getting their weight under control. We're doing a hypertension and blood sugar test because it's very prevalent. Hypertension, diabetes is very prevalent. There's a lot of it in the community. So we're also offering that. So what we do then is we counsel you. We can tell you about exercise and diet. We can ask if already you know your status, if you're hypertensive or not, are you on your medications, counsel you on the need or the importance of taking medication.
Dr. Safi Jame, President of the Medical Women Association Gambia, highlights some of the challenges the association faces.
Right now we are operating virtually. We don't really have an office. But everything starts from somewhere. We'd like to see this association grow and continue.
Angelic Jaju and Ami Juve, both beneficiaries, urge other women to get screened.
I feel very relieved because it is advisable for women to come up and do the screening because it's very important. Then the thing will be, it will just come like that and then you so this thing was with me. So it's good to come and test. Yes, and we screen and know what is going on.
We got
tested and we found out that our blood pressure is normal. I am calling on other women to get tested because this disease is deadly.
The Medical Women Association Gambia is the Gambia chapter of the Medical Women International, headquartered in New York, a global umbrella group of medical women and students that has since 1919 represented women doctors across different continents and regions. In the last few years, female doctors living and working in the Gambia were persuaded to join this universal arena in recognizing female doctors and their contribution to medical practice worldwide. For QTV News, I am Julden Jai.
The Minister of Youth and Sports, Bakari Y. Baji, presided over the graduation of 79 students at the SOS Regional Mothers and Adult Training Center at Bakote on Friday. Loli M. Kamara attended the event and filed this report.
This is the 17th graduation at the SOS Regional Mothers and Adult Training Center in Bakote. Since the launch of its vocational program and social work between 2000 and 2006, respectively. The participants have successfully completed a 2-year training course in catering and hotel management, showing craft work and adult literacy skills. According to the project director of SOS RMA3C, Ellen Maraizo, the primary purpose of the center is to train and empower SOS caregivers to provide quality care to children and young people.
These hard-working, diligent young men and women have not only fulfilled the academic and practical requirements of their courses, but they have also adhered to the rules and regulations of the regulatory body that is the National Accreditation for Quality Assurance Authority.
Pa Amadusi, the acting national director at SOS Children's Village, The Gambia, said SOS has been operating for 40 years and aims to break the cycle of child neglect abuse, and abandonment, adding that his organization will continue to work with children, families, communities, and partners to prevent family breakdown and ensure children's rights are met. He urged the graduates to utilize the knowledge gained during the training.
SOS Children's Villages in the Gambia will continue to advocate for the rights of children and young people in all aspects, especially youth empowerment and employability, which is an important aspect of our work. The Ministry of Youth and Sports, through the Honorable Minister, we extend gratitude to the government of the Gambia for their trust and support of SOS Children's Villages.
The Minister for Youth and Sports, Bakari Y. Baji, while congratulating the students for successfully completing their course, implored them to be determined and focused in their respective areas of specialization.
We all know what our capabilities and what our limitations are, and it depends on how much you're able to evaluate yourself and make that choice. That are you ready to go into the job market and be employed and be able to deliver to the expectation of your employer and to the general population of this country. If you are not, then it means that when you finish your tutoring in class, you can make a choice to go and attach yourself to someone else out there who can be able to help you improve the skills in the craft that you have chosen to study.
SOS The Gambia Regional Mothers and Adult Training Center has graduated 1,600 participants. Currently, 241 students are enrolled at this center, of which 193 are females and 48 males. Certificates were awarded to students for the successful completion of their work. For QTV News, Lolly M. Kamara.
The end of that report takes us to international news. Gaza is being strangled, says the UN, but as the humanitarian situation in Gaza deteriorates, world powers bicker over the word to use to hold Israel bombs so desperately needed aid can reach the beleaguered people of Gaza. More in this report with Mahmoud Mboj.
The Israel-Palestine conflict is probably the most polarizing issue in international politics, as polarizing as its seeming intractability. About an hour after Israel had extended its offensive in Gaza on Friday, the United Nations General Assembly passed a resolution tabled by Jordan calling for a sustained humanitarian truce leading to the end of hostilities. Out of the 193 members of the General Assembly, 120 voted for the resolution and 14, including the US, voted against. However, the General Assembly resolutions are not binding. Legally binding resolutions are once adopted by the Security Council, where in recent weeks, multiple attempts to pass a resolution on the Gaza crisis have failed. Within the 15-member council, real power lies with the 5 permanent members, the Big Five: China, France, Russian Federation, the United Kingdom, and the United States. They have veto power, the absolute and unaccountable power which allows any of them to block any resolution or decision, whatever the majority opinion within the Council. If only one member vetoes any resolution or decision, it ends there. On 16th of October, a Russia-led draft resolution calling for a humanitarian ceasefire in Gaza was defeated. Among the Big Five, China and Russia voted in favor. France, the UK and the US voted against because they said the resolution did not condemn Hamas. On 18th of October, a Brazil-led draft resolution calling for humanitarian pauses was also defeated. The US submitted the only opposing vote because they said the resolution did not mention Israel's right of self-defense. Next was the US-led draft tabled on 25th of October, calling for a humanitarian pause. Russia and China opposed it for what China called evasiveness. A second resolution, tabled by Russia on the same day, was also scuppered. Similar splits also played out within the EU. In its summit last Wednesday, Spain called for a halt and a humanitarian ceasefire. But Germany, Austria and the Czech Republic were reticent about using the word ceasefire. Germany, Israel's close ally, preferred the phrase humanitarian windows, and Brexit Britain has suggested specific pauses. The EU eventually agreed on humanitarian corridors and pauses, but in the UN General Assembly vote, the bloc voted in 3 separate ways, with the majority abstaining. Meanwhile, an official of Hamas has been quoted in a Russian newspaper saying they could not release the Israeli captives until a ceasefire, and 50 of the captives have been killed by the Israeli air raids. 4 hostages so far have been freed, following mediation by Qatar and Egypt. So far, more than 7,000 Palestinians, including nearly 3,000 children, have been killed. Israeli ground troops have entered Gaza, and it's anyone's guess what deaths and devastation will ensue. As the Russian ambassador has said, the time for diplomatic metaphors is long gone. For QTV News, I am Mamadou Mbouch.
Before we end this news bulletin, here is a recap of our main news headlines. As part of activities marking International Day of the Girl, a stakeholders consultation on issues affecting the girl child was held on Saturday. A former permanent secretary of the Ministry of Tourism appeared before the Standing Committee of the National Assembly on Wednesday following allegations of corruption and abuse of office by the GT board management in the award of contract for the construction of ecologies. The African Solidarity Fund delegation met the Gambia Bankers Association on Thursday to foster collaboration and strengthen the financial landscape and economic growth of the Gambia. The Medical Women Association Gambia organized a day-long free breast cancer screening and consultation for women at the Serekunda police station. And in international news, as humanitarian situation in Gaza deteriorates, world powers bicker over the word to use to halt Israel's bombs so desperately needed aid can reach people of Gaza. That's all in this news bulletin. Thank you very much for watching. Join us next time for more news. Have a pleasant night. Bye.